Here's my most recent project. Outdoor Lazy Susan with an Arizona flag inlay. All out of pallet material. Got a real rough look. Let's go ahead and build this thing. I used the center as my 0 point, so I put a hole in my spoil board and then put the bit right through the center. And then I define that as the origin. And then when that's done, I'll raise it up and set my Z height and secure the spoil board down with screws. Here I'm going to trace the parts, and I'd already started this, but my Z height wasn't low enough. But the good thing was that you'll see here that the bit went exactly in the same cut that had already been made, so I know that my router is pretty accurate. So with the tracings on the spoil board, I pre-drilled some holes where the parts were, and on the back I marked those pre-drilled holes so I could use screws for holding down my parts. So now I put together the jigsaw puzzle and test everything for fit, and it fit pretty well actually. So after I stained it, I mocked it up, see how it looked, and looked good. And then I started gluing it up, and the left side's all glued up here on the side. But here's a little technique I use. Is I like yellow glue. It's a lot stronger than epoxy, but I use the epoxy with the 2-part catalyst, and that holds it in place just enough. I put 2 dabs on there, holds it just long enough that gives the yellow glue some time to set up, and it works really well, and it's strong. You can't do it with just epoxy. The epoxy is too brittle, and it doesn't have the holding strength of yellow glue. So the last piece needs to be trimmed, and I use my little sander here to flatten out the edge to get it to fit, and we'll glue it in place. So I glued the end pieces on already. I taped a block with double stick tape in the center, and I'm using the screw as the center point, and I'm just using a tape and setting my radius to 12 inches all the way around, because this is going to be a 24-inch round. I use biscuit joiners on all the joints and laid it up from there, and I'll go ahead and glue this up. So So I don't know if this is cheating, but I wipe out my glue and then I rub sawdust down in the joints and the glue holds it down and it fills in all of the gaps. So since it's pallet material, it's real rough. The thickness is vary quite a bit. So I laid it down on its face first, and then I used my surfacing bit and I went around it a bunch of times and flattened it all out, and then flipped it over and then cut out my 24-inch circle. I would never cut this fast. This is just shown at 3 times normal speed. It took me 3 passes to make this cut. I do a roughing pass first, and then it comes back around and takes off another 4 thousandths or something like that. It's pretty accurate and it makes for a really nice smooth edge. And I forgot the video that I made this 22-inch round circle, got a 1-inch reveal all the way around, poured glue all over the underside. Now that it was flat, glued that down, held it down with screws, and mounted the hardware on it. So since this was a rough finish, I used my angle grinder to do all the rounding overs, and didn't want to use a router, that would have been too smooth. So I rounded over the edges, kind of sand out some of the grooves, and then used some more natural oil stain to seal it up. And after I let the oil stain dry for over a day, I put some polyurethane acrylic finish on here, put a couple coats, and we're done.